Okay, we're going to continue our discussion in 2 Nephi 15, and this is where Isaiah then goes on to basically sing a song. He writes a poem. It doesn't really rhyme in English, but I'm sure it would make more sense in Hebrew. But he talks about a vineyard, and if we look down here, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. So this part, all down in here, all of that is talking about this vineyard and how he fences it up. He does everything he needs to do to make it right, and so that it should bring forth good grapes. But it doesn't bring forth good grapes. It brings forth wild grapes. So he tries everything he can, and then he says, "Now, inhabitants of Jerusalem and the men of Judah, I pray you betwixt me and judge, I pray you, betwixt me and thee." He says, "What could I have done more? Could I do anything more? No, I can't. So I have to take it all down and start over, because it didn't work. I wasn't getting any what was supposed to get from it, and so things are laid to waste, and that makes it ready to be able to plant again and get a proper crop." And so the Lord's saying, these things, these destructions and things, it's because you haven't done what I've asked you to do. You haven't produced the fruit that you should produce. And we'll get on to that even more when we talk about it a little bit later. It's sort of like a foreshadow of when we talk about the vineyard in Jacob. But then we go on to the first woe. Woe unto them that join house to house, till there can be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. This doesn't mean houses just built next to each other. It doesn't mean terraced housing. What it means is people who are covetous, house to house, meaning somebody that just wants something bigger. I want their house. I want, to make it bigger. So it's people who will be buying things out and buying and overtaking farms or becoming big companies, overtaking small companies because they can't. They don't want. They feel like they want more and more. I won't get into the politics of that, but you can see how that can be greed taking over. And so then he says, one of the things that will happen is, and I'll just describe this really quick, 10 acres of the vineyard shall yield 1 bath, and the seed of a homer shall yield an ephah. Now, I don't have to describe this to understand, but it's basically saying, you'll be you won't get rich off of it very easily. 1 bath equals about 31 liters. 1 ephah is 1/10 of a homer. So if we look at the scripture, it's saying that 10 acres will yield 1 bath. So 10 acres of vines only yields about enough as about 5 big bottles of milk that we get in the grocery store. They're a little bit bigger in the States, but here our big 6-liter bottles of milk, that's how much it would give. That I could get that from my plants in my grape plants in the back garden often, but so 10 acres should do more than that. An ephah is 1/10 of a homer. So what it's saying is, if we got a seed of a homer of a big batch, which should then create more, it creates less, and that's basically what it's talking about. Now we go on to verse 11, and we're getting another woe. Now remember, this goes back a lot to 2 Nephi chapter 9, where Jacob was talking about the woes, woe unto the liar, and woe unto the thief, and the adulterer. This is the same thing, but he's using quite a lot more language in the way he talks about it. He talks about, woe unto them that rise up early in the morning and follow after strong drink and continue until night, and wine inflame them. So we're talking about drunkenness, we're talking about substance abuse. There, I would just put that under the whole thing. And they also, here it's interesting that they make themselves merry, but they don't think about the Lord and what they're doing. So then he says, well, that's why the people have gone into captivity, and they don't have any knowledge, and that's why everybody's dried up with thirst. It's interesting that he says that after he says that they seek after wine, that they're actually dried up with thirst. And he just basically describes all the way down here what happens to those people because they follow after this. Remember, this is the fruit, the wild fruit of the vineyard that we were talking about earlier, and why he had to tear it up. It says again, but the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God is holy and shall be sanctified in righteousness. He's reminding you, you do this that's wrong, you'll reap the consequences. But I'll still be holy. I'll still be doing the things that I'm supposed to do. And what more can I do? And then another woe. And this one's about vanity. And then another woe, called good evil, evil good, light for darkness, darkness bitter for sweet. People that twist things. Oh, well, because you go to church, you're bad, because obviously you judge other people, that sort of thing. And I do see that a lot nowadays sometimes, where people actually will try to make everything sound good that is not good, and try to make everybody think that what you're doing is wrong, and you'll experience that. But the Lord is saying, you got to watch that. Woe unto them that do that. Woe unto the wise in their own eyes. Again, this is pride. Again, they talk about the drink and the wine and the strong drink. He says that it's a modern day thing that we shouldn't follow the wine. And then we've got down here, after all the woes, they have a woe here as well, that justify the wicked for reward, and the righteous, and take the righteousness from the righteous. Again, the same thing I was saying before. They this is injustice. This is giving people a reward for doing something that's wrong. And so then here he has what happens to him. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, their root shall be rottenness, and their blossoms shall go up in dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Again, going back to the idea of the vineyard and what is going to happen if they follow this way, if they give the wild fruit, the fruit that doesn't taste good, that's not good fruit, then they will have to be destroyed. And then we talk about this: the anger is kindled of the Lord is kindled, his hand is against them, they are smitten, the hills tremble, and their carcasses are torn in the midst of the streets. Really, really graphic, horrible stuff. But then he says this thing, and you'll see this time and time again in these verses coming up. For his anger is not turned away, but his hand is outstretched still. Is stretched out still. This verse is talking about how the Lord will bless his people. It's not saying his hand is stretched out to hurt the people. What it's saying is, yes, his anger is there, but his hand is stretched out still, and you can see it in these next few verses. He says he will lift up an ensign to the nations. He will be there. He will do these things for the people, and this ensign will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And he's talking about the Book of Mormon, really, and the gospel being preached to all people. There will be one chapter that's devoted exactly to that, but this one right here just says that it's going to bring the people together, and it's going to come swiftly, and it says all these things, and they will slumber not, and they shall roar like lions, yea, and roar, and lay hold of their prey, and shall carry them safe, and none shall deliver. It sounds pretty drastic, a roaring lion taken away, but what it's talking about is the gathering of Israel. Wonderful, isn't it? And that's what he's saying, is all this destruction is going to come, but I'm going to build you up again, and it's going to be great and wonderful. And that's the promise that he's given us. That's the covenant right there. And we're starting to see the fulfillment of that covenant. Israel has been destroyed, and now they're being built up again. That is what we're talking about here. We're talking about the promises the Lord has made to his people.